Be me 19, a walking, talking cliché freshman in college. Engineering major social skills of a toaster oven physique of a melted candle wardrobe consists of free t-shirts from career fairs and jeans that are 2 inches too short. My entire personality is knowing Star Wars trivia and being the nice guy. And then there was her, let's call her Chloe.jpg, the kind of girl who makes the sunlight seem like it's trying too hard. Art history major. Of course, long blonde hair, laughed at everything. Always surrounded by a flock of friends, she was so far out of my league. She was playing a different sport in a different galaxy. We were in the same freshman English class. I was hopelessly, pathetically, head over heels in love with her from the moment she asked to borrow a pen. Naturally, I became her best friend, her gay best friend. That wasn't actually gay, the ultimate friendzone promotion. I was her designated driver, her on-call IT support, her human golden retriever. Anon, my laptop is making a weird noise, can you look at it? I'd be at her dorm in 15 minutes, tools in hand. Anon, Chad just broke up with me. Can you come over with ice cream? I'd arrive with Ben and Jerry's and a shoulder for her to cry on. My heart breaking for the 1000th time as she sobbed about some dude with a jawline like a Marvel hero and the emotional depth of a puddle. Chad. There was always a Chad or a Brad or a Kyle. They were all the same guy, just with different varsity jackets. They'd treat her like an option, cheat on her, forget her birthday, and she'd come running to me, the safe harbor, the emotional janitor. I'd listen for hours, offering sage advice I'd gleaned from Reddit relationship threads. He doesn't deserve you, Chloe, I'd say, my voice cracking with unrequited sincerity. I know, she'd sniffle, wiping her tears. Why can't I find a nice guy like you? That question. That goddamn question. It was a dagger she'd twist in my chest every single time because the answer was always right there, sitting next to her, reeking of desperation and pizza rolls, but I never said it. I was too afraid of ruining the friendship. The breaking point came sophomore year. She'd been dating this new Chad, a lacrosse player who communicated exclusively in grunts. He was objectively the worst of the bunch. One night, I get a frantic call from her at 2 a.m. She's at some frat party. Lacrosse Chad had ditched her for some other girl, and she has no way to get home. I get out of bed, pull on my too short jeans, and drive 30 minutes across town to rescue her. I find her crying on the curb, a perfect picture of damsel in distress. I drive her back to her dorm in silence, the air thick with the smell of cheap beer and her perfume. When we get there, she doesn't get out of the car. She turns to me, her eyes all puffy and sad. Thank you, Anon. You're the only one I can ever count on. This is it, I think, my moment, the culmination of 2 years of loyal service. My heart is hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. Chloe, I start, my voice barely a whisper. It's because I really like you, more than a friend. I lay it all out, a clumsy, rambling confession of my undying affection. She just stares at me. Her expression isn't angry or disgusted. It's worse. It's pity. Oh, Anon, she says, her voice soft and lethal. You're so sweet, but I could never see you that way. You're like my brother, the final nail in the coffin of the friend zone. I don't want to ruin what we have, she adds, twisting the knife one last time. She gets out of the car and walks away, leaving me alone in my shitty 2004 Honda Civic with the shattered remnants of my heart. That night something in me snapped. It wasn't anger at her. It was a cold, hard disgust with myself. I had spent 2 years of my life as a background character in her movie. I was Plan B, the emergency contact, the service animal, and I had let it happen. I drove home, and for the first time I didn't feel sad. I felt empty. I looked at myself in the rearview mirror, pale, skinny, fat, sad little mustache. I was a joke. And I decided right then and there that I wasn't going to be the punchline anymore. The next day, I deleted her number. I blocked her on all social media. It was the hardest thing I had ever done. It felt like cutting off a limb. Then I went to the campus gym. I'd never been in a gym before. It smelled of sweat and failure. I found the weight room, picked up a dumbbell that was way too heavy, and started lifting. It was the beginning of my glow-up, my transformation, my montage sequence. The next few years were a blur of pain and progress. Pain in the gym, pushing myself until my muscles screamed. Pain in the library, studying until my eyes burned. Pain in my social life, forcing myself to talk to people, to go to parties, to crawl out of my shell. I stopped being the nice guy and started trying to be an interesting man. I got a haircut. I bought clothes that actually fit. I started making eye contact. I graduated with honors. I got a good job at a tech firm downtown. The melted candle physique was replaced by something solid, something defined. I wasn't a Chad, not by a long shot, but I was me, a version of me that I wasn't ashamed of. I started dating, real dating, with women who saw me as a potential partner, not an emotional support animal. I learned how to flirt. I learned how to be confident. I learned how to walk away from women who weren't interested. I learned my own worth. 7 years passed. 7 years of building a life. I was 26. I had a great career, my own apartment with a killer view, a solid group of friends. I was dating a woman named Emily. She was a doctor. She was smart, funny, and beautiful. She loved me for who I was, not for what I could do for her. Our relationship was a partnership of equals. I was happy, genuinely, truly happy. Chloe was a distant memory, a ghost from a past life. A scar that had long since faded, or so I thought. The message came on a Wednesday afternoon. A friend request on Facebook. Chloe. My heart did a weird little flip-flop, a muscle memory of a long-dead emotion. Curiosity got the better of me. I clicked on her profile. The vibrant, carefree art history major was gone. In her place was a woman who looked tired. Her profile was a minefield of modern female despair. Posts about her biological clock ticking. Shared articles with titles like "Why Are All the Good Men Gone?" Pictures of her with her cat, captioned "My Only Man." Her relationship status was single. She was working as a receptionist at a dentist's office. The Chads and the Brads had come and gone, and it seemed none of them had stuck around. The hot girl summer had ended, and a long, cold autumn had begun. I accepted the request. A part of me needed to see how this played out. She messaged me instantly. "Anon, oh my God, is that really you? You look amazing." We exchanged pleasantries. She asked about my job. I told her I was a software engineer. "Wow, I always knew you were smart," she typed. She asked if I was seeing anyone. I told her I had a girlfriend. There was a long pause. "Oh, that's great, she's a lucky girl." Then came the inevitable next message. "We should totally catch up sometime, for old time's sake." I knew exactly what this was. This was a scouting mission, an audit of her backup plan, but I agreed. I needed to close this chapter for good. I needed to see her face to face as the man I had become. We met for coffee at a Starbucks downtown. She was late. Of course she was. She walked in, and for a second my 19-year-old brain kicked in. There she was, Chloe. But the illusion shattered quickly. She looked older than her 26 years. There were faint lines around her eyes. Her smile didn't quite reach them. She was still beautiful, but the effortless glow was gone. It had been replaced by a veneer of carefully applied makeup and a faint aura of desperation. "Wow, Anon," she said, giving me a hug that lingered a little too long. "Puberty hit you like a truck." "A very handsome truck." I just smiled politely. "You look good too, Chloe." We sat down with our overpriced lattes and she began her monologue. It was a highlight reel of her failed dating life. The guy who was secretly married. The guy who was a crypto bro and lost all his money. The guy who dumped her because she wanted to get married. "I'm just so tired of the games, you know," she said, stirring her coffee with a sad, rhythmic clinking. "All the good guys are either taken or gay." She looked at me, a pointed, meaningful look. I guess I should have appreciated the good ones when I had the chance. It was so transparent, it was almost comical. She started reminiscing about our college days. "Remember that time you drove all the way across town to pick me up from that party?" she said, her voice soft and wistful. "That was so sweet. No one does things like that for me anymore." "I was a good friend," I said, my voice neutral. "You were," she agreed, leaning forward. The best. I was so stupid back then, Anon. I was a kid. I didn't know what I wanted. She placed her hand on mine across the table. Her skin was cold. I know you have a girlfriend, she said, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. And I'm sure she's great. But did you ever think about us? About what we could have been? This was it. The moment my 19-year-old self had dreamed of. The woman who had shattered my heart was now sitting in front of me, practically begging for a second chance. And I felt nothing. No anger, no triumph, just a profound, quiet sense of pity. I gently pulled my hand away from hers. "Chloe," I said, my voice calm and even, "we were never an us. I was your friend. That's all. But it could have been more," she insisted, her eyes welling up with tears. The same tears she had used on Chad, on Brad, on Kyle. The tears that used to be my kryptonite. "No, it couldn't have," I said, shaking my head. I took a deep breath. It was time to say the words I had been practicing in my head for 7 years. "You didn't see me that way back then, Chloe. I wasn't tall enough or rich enough or exciting enough for you. I was the safe option. The reliable one. The guy you called when the Chads of the world let you down." Her face paled. She opened her mouth to protest, but I kept going. "And now, here we are, 7 years later. Your fun is over, the party's ended, and you're looking around trying to find a nice guy to settle down with. And you thought of me, because I'm successful now. I look better now. I check all the boxes that I didn't check when we were 19. I leaned forward, and for the first time, I made sure she could see the steel in my eyes. "Let me be very clear. I am not your backup plan. I'm not your consolation prize. I am not the guy you settle for when you can't have what you really want. My girlfriend, Emily, she chose me. From the beginning, I was her first choice. She didn't need to go through a roster of assholes to realize my worth. She saw it from day one. I have built a life where I am somebody's first choice, Chloe. And I am not going to throw that away to be your plan B." I stood up, pulling a $20 bill from my wallet and placing it on the table. "I wish you the best," I said, and the crazy thing was I almost meant it. "I hope you find what you're looking for." I turned and walked out of the Starbucks without looking back. I didn't need to see her reaction. I didn't need to see her cry. I had already won. The victory wasn't in rejecting her. It was in the years of hard work that had given me the ability to do so. I walked out into the sunshine, feeling lighter than I had in years. The 19-year-old ghost that had been haunting me was finally gone. I pulled out my phone and texted Emily. "Hey, just finished my coffee meeting. Thinking of you. I love you." She replied a minute later. "I love you too. See you at home." Be me 26, no longer the backup plan, finally the main character, and it feels good.